So welcome to the Helix webinar series. Today's session is on what's new in Digital Workplace 25.2. Joining me today is Karl-Anders Folk, our lead product manager, and also Deepak Rudra, our principal product manager. I do need to make an apology for Deepak. He's got bandwidth issues at the moment, so we will be very shortly all turning our cameras off. But before we get started, just want to give you a reminder, you will remain muted until towards the end, where we will try and get at least 10 minutes in for live Q&A. And any questions that we don't get covered today, we will formulate the responses and put them into a blog post. So you will remain muted, and the Q&A section is at the bottom of Zoom if you have any questions during the demo and the presentation slides. So I'm now going to hand over to Kaf, who's going to get us started and do his introduction. Over to you, Kaf.
Thank you, Samantha. So nice to be back again with a new version of Digital Workplace. We released it almost a month back, but we wanted to share what's in there so you can pick up on the nice things we have in it. Some of it, all what we talk about today is GA. We might mention future things, so we have to show this one where we ask you to not share some future statements, and also be aware that if we talk about the future, it might not happen because we decided it is not really reasonable to deliver it. So let's move on to the agenda. We'll start with Employee Navigator, our Agentic AI capabilities that we have now improved since a number of releases. And we'll talk about the new things we have done, and I'll do a little bit of a demo. We have currently 3 agents in Digital Workplace. One is the Employee Navigator, but then Deepak is going to talk about the service catalog creator agent that is new. He had a specific webinar about it the other week, but for those that couldn't join that one, we have a quick summary of what it is and how it can be used. And we then have another new thing, which is completely new. It's the guest portal. We have the employee portal where people that are employed by a company can use Digital Workplace. We have the external portal where people can register with their own email address, and we have the new guest portal where you don't even have to sign in to get access to the Digital Workplace capabilities. So we'll go through that and some more enhancements that we have done based on your wishes from communities, and then he will do a little bit of demo. So let me move to the first thing in Employee Navigator that we have added. So the first thing is camera SnapHelp. If you remember in 25.1.01, we had added the ability to upload images. Specifically, we were demoing error messages, and it could retrieve knowledge if you uploaded an image. Now we have made it available so you can snap an image with the camera directly and then use that to get help. So that will be quite interesting. We have many requests for this, and I've been playing with the images quite a lot, and it's amazing what the large language model can see in images. I will, together with Sam, do some live prompting around the images on the 5th of June. So you're welcome back to see a little bit what we can do with images then. We have so far mainly been able to ask questions about things like the requests and the to-do items, or about people, about service health items and so on, and knowledge, of course. This release, we added capability to update the request with a comment and also cancel a request from the chat bar. So both directions if you want to do that. We we last release added most of the question types that you can have in a questionnaire, so it show up on the screen in Digital Workplace. In this release, we added the ability to add attachments also. That didn't exist before, so it's new. And you get a little pop-up here where you can attach things. Small thing, but many customers want that. We've also started to play a little bit with how we present things, and you can now select if you want to get a table, a textual table, or if you want to get card type things on the screen when you ask about requests. We started with requests, so we really want your feedback, what you like best. Is it better to get this kind of textual chatified version of things, or do you prefer this one? Or maybe we keep both of them. The question is, are we going to add cards for the other objects that you can ask about, or should we stay with a textual representation like before? We have improved the formatting in the tables. We did provide tables like this before, and we put the links to the requests underneath. Now it is inline the table, so you can easily see the request name and then click on the link, and it will open up the details screen for you. I'll demo that in a little while. Okay, so that was the items in Employee Navigator. We are doing a number of things behind the scene as well, but this was the kind of first part of it. Let me see if I can share my mobile. Yeah, okay, good. And then we bring up Digital Workplace. So I did a similar demo the other week when we were presenting the service management thing. But I'll do it here now again. So this is just a studio page with some gallery of things you can do with the agent in Digital Workplace, but I'll use this. So I'll start up Employee Navigator here, and you see it looks like any chat window. And at the bottom, we now have a new icon, the camera icon. And if I click on the camera, it will start the camera on my mobile like this. So you see my keyboard and my screen where things are. If I go here, I have an image from outside our house, and as you can see, the pavement is a little bit broken. It happened in the winter because the snowplow was damaging it, and I wanted to report to that we need to get maintenance to fix this. And let's assume that is the case here. I'll snap the image like this, and I'll use it. And as you can see, it's now available in the chat. And if I send it off to the Employee Navigator agent, the agent will analyze the image and get back with a little bit of information about the image, what you can see there, and hopefully it has seen that the payment is damaged, as you can see. And now it's asking what I want to do here. And if I say I need to request maintenance, it will not look up knowledge in this case. It will actually check if there is a catalog item, and that is another new thing. I didn't really mention it because it's kind of part of a new capability in the agent itself. we have added a tool behind the scene that can look for catalog items. And as you see now, it realized I asked for something, and it's going to look if there is a catalog item. And yes, it found one, and I can go ahead and request street maintenance. So this is quite good that you can use the camera. Let's meet on the 5th of June and look more into what you can do with the camera. So I'll stop sharing my screen now from my mobile, if I can find out how to do that. Do you see my...
Yeah, you're in the portal, right?
In the task gallery, right? Yeah. So I mentioned that we have added different ways of presenting things. So let me go to this portal instead. I think it's easier to demo here. I have different agents, differently tailored agents behind the scene here, depending on which page we select. And you see I've put a little label here so you can see what agent I'm actually using. And if I go in here and ask show my requests, it will open up the requests. And as you can see, you now have the link here, and I can click on the request like this, and it open up the details that you recognize. So pretty nice in that way. And if I go to this one, which has got not this one I wanted to use, which has got cards on it, it's gonna show the requests as cards. It looks a little bit differently. So you see it has the icon, and it looks more like it does in Digital Workplace. And if you want to see the details, you can click here and you can cancel immediately on the screen. I think this might be interesting. It depends on if you're on the mobile, it might not be so good, but if you are here, it might be pretty nice. So that's what I wanted to show here. If you look, so I've added the skill to the chat bar up here on the studio page, but if I go here, I have the side panel and it behaves similarly here. So if I do show my requests, it will show up. And on this one, I'm using this table thing. And if you scroll, you can see the whole thing, but maybe the cards work a little bit better here because they shrink. And if I click on one of these, it will open up here. So that is also pretty nice that you can combine the two. If I say something like I want to add a comment, I could say I want to add a comment to 631 and the comment, but I can also do it like this. And I wanted to share a little bit how the agent is now much more conversational. Depending on what you say, it's going to respond in a much more dialogue approach. So I can say 627 because I have the number up here. And then I can say, please provide status. I did add the quotes. You don't need to do it, but it makes it very clear what to the LLM, what is actually the comment I want to add. Then it is no discussion about that. So now you see it has added it, and if I want to check it, oops. if I want to check that, let me do this. Show requests again, so we have the latest link in there. This one. So now, please provide a status update. So here it is. Okay. I also wanted to share with you that we have in Innovation Studio, we have the Helix GPT Manager, and we have updated that one quite a lot now. So just to show you how agentic everything is these days. It looks pretty similar to Helix GPT Manager, but you now have skills, you have agents, and you have tools, which is the nature of truly agentic capabilities. And if I select digital workplace, you can see that we have skills here. These dim ones, the dim green, they are out of the box skills that we ship, and some of them have agents in the name, and some of them do not have agents in the name. They are just called skills. And some of them are for Azure OpenAI, some of them are for Google Vertex, Gemini, some of them are for Llama, and so on. So we're shipping quite many skills. Skills come in two different versions. One, which was the one we started with, is based on prompts. So you see it's saying prompts here on this tab. If I pick this one, it's saying agent instead. So I'll show you the difference also. If you click on the prompts, we have a number of predefined prompts, and we have the router prompt. In the router prompt, there is ability to select one or the other, one or a chain of other prompts. And that is kind of predefined chains that we in BMC, our developers, have predefined, and you can't really, you can add things to it, you can use the chains that we have defined, but it is still us controlling what happens. When you move to the agent and click here, you don't really have that anymore. You have the agent, and the agent is actually deciding what happens next. It's autonomously deciding what tools it will use. So as you can see, there are quite many different agents. And if you go here to agents, you can create new agents, but we have the agents here. This is the one I have worked with, the one I have created. And if you click on it, you will see the details of it. It has a prompt. It is a predefined one we ship, but you can change it. And I actually did change this one a little bit. That's why it's saying custom 2. It's my own agent, and I did a little bit of tailoring of it. It's got 5 tools it can select from. So when I ask something like, how do I, it will use the retriever tool most likely. Or if I ask, I need to know about Alan or something, it's going to look up people, profile, information. We have the requests here and so on. So this is the agent, and you can create your own agents with your own prompts. Very flexible. It's the kind of thing of today. It's really the modern way of automating things. So you have it at your hands, and you can quickly, if you upgrade to 25.2, build out your own very intelligent agents, and they can also be multi-agents if you want. You can have a supervisor agent and you can have a number of sub-agents. We're using that in tools, in other tools, but not here right now. And then you have tools, and you saw the knowledge retriever tool is there, and a lot of other tools that is communicating with Helix. And this is what makes our generative AI agentic solution unique. We offer you out-of-the-box integrations. You could build something on your own using our APIs, but here it is. It's ready to use. So please go ahead. I think I'll stop there, and if you have questions, ask them in the chat or ask them at the end. I'll hand it over to Deepak now and stop sharing my screen.
Thanks, Kaf, for a wonderful demo. I hope you all can hear me fine.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. If you stop sharing, Kaf, I'll just start
Yeah,
sharing.
I'll be stopping my camera, and I'll be stop sharing my screen.
Okay. At any time, if you guys have any trouble hearing me, do let Sam know, and then we can always re-record this if we run into problems. But I had some technical issues today, so pardon me for that. Um, But the good part is we are always connected, and we have done several sessions on major flagship features. So most of you have been part of my previous session on Service Catalog Curator. That's a new agent that's BMC has introduced. So even if you're not able to hear me today, or I may not be able to go to all the technical details because it was a session of an hour itself. So I would really request you to go through the recordings, and then Sam will provide the link to the resources and Q&A and recording everything at the end of the session, and it will also be shared with you in the slides. So it's a new agent that BMC has introduced, and the capabilities are that you can chat with your catalog, and you will be able to generate service catalog offerings, native service catalog offerings. So it saves you effort and time, streamlining your service catalog creation because you're following your administrators are following a framework. It's also a quick accelerator for people, those who are not very well versed with the product, because some of you are migrating from SRM and do not know completely ins and outs and need more time and training on DWP catalog. So you really need some sort of accelerator. And this is, along with the IT content pack that we have shipped before, you can really stand up services in matter of minutes here, really, without prior knowledge of DWP catalog. There are certain because this was the first release, there are certain limitations, and I'll probably just touch on that real quick. But it also allows, from the major functionality perspective, in this first release, it also allows real-time edits that you can chat with your new catalog offering. So when you are actually asking it to create a catalog offering, you can chat with it and say, I don't need this question, please modify this question, remove this question, update the cost and quantity. All of that is possible. Whatever you see as an output by LLM, everything is chatified. Right now, it's only limited, the catalog creation and editing is only limited to the new catalog offerings. We are not allowing edits right now from the service catalog curator for existing services. We will in future, right? We will provide that support. Plus, it also provides effortless translation. So you can ask for a service and say, show me all those translations in Canadian French or probably German, Spanish, French, right? What all languages that we support from the DWP perspective, you can ask for it. And it's going to automatically translate the questionnaire, profile, tags, everything, really, whatever is translatable. You don't need to really bother about that. And it asks you for the feedback. Are you happy with it? Only if you give your confirmation, it's going to create a catalog entry in a draft mode. The other things that I've learned from previous session that many users have asked is it's not a dev to QA to prod migration. It can create only catalog offerings in your current system. So if you enable this agent in the dev system, it will only create services in the dev. Migration, you have to take it up separately, and you have to migrate from the import export functionality that we have. There are certain limitations in this release that you are not able to create dynamic questions, like for example, where you have lookup questions where you can say look up all people from CTM people from where profile status is equal to enabled. that's something in our future roadmap. So right now we are truly relying on LLM to generate the static values from the drop down and all of that, and then other complex questions like tables, the object type question that we have, repeated group of questions. All of that is not supported. I highly recommend you go through my webinar. It has got a comprehensive set of details and slides where I covered this topic in detail. But if you are on service management suite license, you can get this activated. It's pretty straightforward, just 2 minutes of job to really activate it in your system and start using it. Now, the second major enhancement that we have is a net new offering. It's going to be, and we are working on right now on providing this as an add-on SKU, is going to be a guest portal. So a lot of you are already familiar with the self-registration portal. So you have digital workplace, that's for your employees, those who are part of your Active Directory. Then you have another flavor add-on that you have is for the self-registered users, where your users can self-register themselves. They stay in your CTM people form, they can create requests, and you are able to identify them. This is third variance of that. That's going to be called as the guest portal, where you want people to access your web pages, your submit services requests anonymously. So you don't want them to be identified. So that's the guest portal that we have introduced. It's going to help you in, you know, enabling and providing outreach to your customers. So customers, that's the segment we are targeting with that, without the need for them to really register. So why do you really want them to be registered in your Active Directory if they are not your partners, or they are just customers inquiring about your products, your offerings on your public website, right? For example, studio functionality is available. You will be able to brand this. You will be able to set entitlement. You will be able to share how to links. These are how to links, not knowledge articles. So knowledge article support is something that we are going to provide in the future release. Again, this is an add-on SKU to service management suite licensing. Plus, if you are a DWP advanced customer, you can add this at a price. So you can reach out to your account manager to get more details. And then the next one is really you need to have integration. So it's going to be an integration account between, that's going to integrate these two systems. There will be a guest user created automatically when you enable this functionality, and you will be using that user's entitlement really to submit the requests, right? And then again, if you need more details, there is a separate webinar, 1 hour webinar that I've done on this, where we go into each setting, very granular. I'll probably just show the superficial, the portal functionality, but you can look at that webinar to get more details. The next enhancement that we have done in this release is you have now subcatalogs for each lines of business. So those of you who know subcatalog functionality know that you can have only one subcatalog right now for business workflows, right, where you have lines of businesses, for example, HR, facilities, finance, right? Now what you can do, you can create subcatalogs in digital workplace catalog, redistribute your services. So services which are targeted for finance can be moved into subcatalog for finance. You can move HR services into HR subcatalog, and people, those who are case agents and case analysts, they will have and administrators also, they will have access. If they have access to the LOB, they can only access that particular subcatalog. Plus also the service request report is also from that particular subcatalog. Okay, so they will not be able to have visibility into any other lines of business. So visibility in the lines of business will control who can actually see the service catalog offerings and their corresponding service requests. The only thing is this is detached from DWP catalog admin permission. DWP catalog admin is the super role who manages everything really, right? So DWP catalog admin will still be able to look at all subcatalogs, all lines of businesses and everything. But when it comes to the when you basically do manage catalog from DWP, from business workflows, if you have access to lines of business, then only you will be able to access the subcatalog from there. Then we had confidential questions for majority of the question type except attachment. So in this release, we have introduced confidential question as attachment as the confidential question. Again, it works only with business workflows. As you're aware, the attachment is not, confidential questions are not available with ITSM. ITSM doesn't have that concept, but with business workflows, you can have confidential attachments now available, and they will be visible to only the confidential group that has got access to the case data. To anybody else, it's going to be not visible, and it's going to be just striked out. They don't have access to that at all. Okay. And the other confidential questions rule remains the same. What you have for the other questions, that if you're doing on behalf of, or you're impersonating as somebody else, you will not be able to see their data. You will not be able to see the data in the service request reports also, because it's a confidential question. So none of that changes really. This is another major enhancement that we have done, is auto assignment of the roles, catalog roles, based on the foundation data. So right now you always had a problem that you had to bulk upload, or basically give permission one after the other, or write customization, DMT customization to add agent role to each person who wants to access DWP catalog request. Now moving forward, all three roles, administrator, asset manager, and agent. So asset manager is equivalent to the subcatalog admins. Agent is somebody who can access the catalog requests, and the administrator is global administrator for DWP catalog. You will be able to define individual person, or you can even define um, basically attributes from the CTM people from, and their foundation data like site, region, department, support group, to auto promote them to these roles. Once they log in, we are not running any overnight jobs or anything to really promote them. Once they log in, automatically, if they meet this qualification, the permission will be added to their record, CTM people form, automatically. If you remove it, next time they try to log in, it will automatically be taken off, saying that you don't have permission to access this resource. So it's an auto promotion and auto demotion really, if you would like to. In both of the cases, you don't have to really go and handpick people now and give them the permission. I'll try to show you the demo. So again, I'm just operating on limited bandwidth today, but I hope I will be able to show you all of the functionalities. So let's quickly take a look at DWP catalog. So first thing that we can look at is the guest portal, right? So in DWP administration, you will have something called as the guest portal setting, right? If once you upgrade to 25.2, and if you have the license, you can just go ahead and enable this functionality. Keep in mind, the moment you enable it, you start having hits, we'll start counting the usage. So be very careful. If you don't have a license, please don't enable this functionality. So because you're not authenticating. Every time you're hitting the page, up till you have the session right in that particular browser, you will be counted. If you close the session and do again, you will be counted again. So that's covered in the other webinar, plus in the documentation, how the counting is done. But as a super admin, you can just go and enable this guest portal functionality. So you're going to define a company, then you automatically have people, those who are the MyIT admins with permission MyIT admin, automatically shown as the portal admins. And then automatically an integration account will be created, which we recommend you can just tweak only the names, don't modify anything else. This is going to be the name. This is an auto-generated login ID. Your integration will automatically be taken care by this. Then you have to define a URL. It's not single sign-on because there is no sign-on. So it is, if you're on-prem, you can define your own ingress settings and then have a URL defined by your network team, your network and security team. And you can just point that URL here to Digital Workplace Server. If you are in SaaS, you will reach out to BMC to enable this, and BMC will give you the URL. So that as an administrator, you can just copy paste that URL. Okay. Then I can easily define the studio pages. If I go back, I can just show you that I have studio page that I have defined, and I've taken an example of a school system really. So yeah, it will actually be inside the tenant really. So I need to log in the tenant, not as a master tenant, because it's a tenant created really, right, for the Apex Global. So I can quickly show you really how it works from the end user perspective. So this is an example that I have taken for a school system, and I have demoed this exact same thing when I did the webinar. As you can see here, like I am logged in with the guest user really, right? So let me quickly move around the bar here. Yeah, so you can see the guest user, right? I'm logged in as a guest user, not even logged in really. When I hit the URL, I'm seeing this page as a preference of the guest user. And I have a studio page where I don't need to really log in. I have all the functionalities. These are how to links. And then these are the catalog items that I have actually associated with that. So how did I create the catalog items really? So what I have done really is on DWP catalog side, I have defined a virtual marketplace. And on the virtual marketplace side, I have defined the catalog services that needs to be available and then the user. So you can define several other attributes, but what I have done is anybody who's accessing the system with preference privilege of this user is gonna see only these three services, right? In this, I have basically taken example of school tour, booking, admission inquiry, and admission to the elementary school, really to fill that form, right? So, and only those three services will be visible. Additionally, in DWP administration, you can also do other settings, that I have covered in the previous session around how to links, right? So that's pretty straightforward. So when you do that, you want, for example, in the school system, you don't want to register yourself. You just want to inquire. You just want to book a visit. So you can just click on that service and can go and request that. It will be requested as a guest user. Okay. So you basically request, it shows that requested for is the guest user. So you can provide your details, and then admins or the other people on the other side can reach out to you on your preferred method of communication, maybe email or directly through your phone. That typically you see in your school districts. That's how they basically interact, right? They don't really want you to register unless your kid really registers into that school year. So all of that is possible. So you can do that. So I highly recommend you guys take a look at the guest portal functionality. I'll stop here from the guest portal perspective. Now let's quickly move to the service catalog curator. So the agent, if you are on service management suite licensing model, you can get this agent. You can always send inquiry to your account manager, and we can discuss on what you need from the licensing perspective. But you just enable it. It's a couple of steps really. You bring your own LLM. It works with OpenAI, Azure OpenAI GPT-4o and 4o Mini. And then you can enable this catalog assistant here. Once you launch the catalog assistant, you can interact with it as a human being and ask it to really create service offerings for you. So as you can see here, it's talking to me. It's telling me that, hey, you can outline what you want, and if you need more help, you can ask me to guide you. And I say, guide me. Okay, so then people, those who don't know, these are the specifics that you need really in order to build a service catalog offering. It takes time for people to really get used to it, but now we have provided you a quick accelerator along with a example really what you can do. So again, I am just copy pasting this. I've already created a prompt. We can quickly go through the prompt. So I'm saying that create a guest Wi-Fi service. It should have IT request template, may require versioning. There is no cost, minimum max quantity as 2, no SLA target. The service requires manager approval and should generate a work order upon request. So I can just chat with it as a human, and it's going to do its own magic. It's going to start creating the offering for me. Okay. So as you can see, it's in English. I can translate it to multiple languages if I want. I should have specified in the beginning. I can also do follow up and say that it picked up the IT request template. Then it automatically it's going to generate a workflow. It automatically picked up the tags, service accept description. All of this is modifiable. Then you can see we are attaching a workflow. We are attaching a best practice workflow from the BMC side. We are not generating any new workflow. Okay, a copy of the workflow will be attached to the service. So that means all your services are not pointing to the single workflow. They will be pointing to a copy of the workflow that you can customize. So then you have all the questions which are created automatically. You have price, quantity. In this case, we are running into some problems, but you can always chat with it and say set max quantity as 2 or 2, right? And then you can see that I can just chat with it, and then it can basically change the max quantity to 2. So you can basically chat with it and update anything that you would like in the service. And once you're happy, you say looks good, and then you basically submit it. So as you can see, my max quantity is 2. So I can say looks good, and that's all it takes really to create a catalog offering. Okay, so I highly recommend, and we'll give it like 5 minutes because it takes time to really generate that service. Maybe not 5 minutes, 2 minutes or so, but it's going to take away really a lot of effort from your administrators. So I let it run in the background, and then we can come back to it if time permit. But I highly recommend that you take a look at the webinar. The next thing
Deepak,
that
But there was one question regarding which approvals we support in this release. Do you have that in your head? I
Yeah,
didn't.
we support, and it's in the webinar, what is available, but we support manager approval, ad hoc approval, group approval, individual approval, and no approval, really, right? So these are the options that you can provide to your input when you are creating the service.
And
And
we're gonna extend that in the next
we're
release.
going to extend that, yeah. And then right now it can only create one fulfillment, but in future you can have multiple fulfillment. So I highly recommend all of these questions. We don't have a lot of time, but all of these questions will be addressed in my webinar that I have done, where I did a deep dive on this agent. So as we were talking, the service was created, right? You can see the service was created, and now probably I can just show you guys. Okay, this is guest Wi-Fi service which got created. This is the questionnaire that's generated. So request manager approval, individual approval, group approval, no approval, fulfillment type is set here. And then these are the questions which were generated by the LLM. Okay. And I should probably also show you the workflow so that you know. This is the best practice workflow that we are attaching to each catalog. You can, again, it's a copy, so you can create your own. Based on what you provide, it's going to branch to that particular approval. Then it's going to branch after the approval, it's going to branch to the fulfillment, and then it picks up one of these fulfillment type. So go through, take your time. I think it will probably need you an hour to really go through that webinar and understand the flow. I have gone through each building block of the service, what is supported, what is not. Um, right, and then you will be able to understand. Um, Now let's, in interest of time, let's quickly go to the next feature that we have is for the auto promotion of the user roles. So under user roles, you will be able to see three sections: agent, asset manager, and administrator. So let's take example of, administrator. You have 40 administrators here. You can add more people, or you can, like I want this person to be added as an administrator. Next time this person logs in, will be automatically an administrator. I can also define, okay, anybody belonging to this company, these ITSM attributes, which are going to show up here. Yeah, so for example, if I say Calbro, under this organization, human resource, anybody who logs in will be, basically an administrator. Anybody who logs in next time will automatically be promoted to an administrator. So let's take an example of agent. So I have attribute set that anybody who logs in from Apex Global will be an agent. Ideally, you should not do that, but just in case right now to show you an example, I have done that. So let's take example of a person whose name is Victor. Okay. On CTM people from form, right now, this person doesn't have any IS persona and any IS bundle access, right? So if you know, we give the service MyIT SB, and then the persona is catalog agent, catalog administrator, right? So those permissions are not there. So let's try to log in from this guy's perspective. Okay, let's log in from, again, if I show you a demo from DWP side, you'll say, DWP's catalog side, you'll say none of our users really log into DWP catalog. They use Smart IT. So let's take a look at Smart IT. Okay, so this guy tries to log in first time from Smart IT, and I'll show you the use case of auto promotion. So Victor logs in, and then Victor will try to search for the catalog request from the smart recorder for a person, right? Let's see. Let's take that example. Okay, from smart recorder, trying to take a look at Liam, right? Until now, this person doesn't have access. The moment this person tries to access, um, yeah, at this moment, it doesn't have that, right? Um, let's quickly go back and see, is it available now to Victor? Yeah, ideally, it should be taken automatically. Yeah, it usually takes a bit for user group sync to happen. It usually takes like 3 minutes or so based on the cache interval that we have set. Maybe we can quickly just go to the catalog. And let me see if there are no modifications done to this user as part of the Apex Global. Yeah, so let's the reason I modified that, or I touched that, it's going to take few minutes really to modify that. But the idea is that the moment you have Apex Global here, anybody belonging to it will automatically be promoted, and then the permissions IS persona, these permissions and bundle access will automatically show here. So let's give it like few more minutes, right? While this is happening, usually there is a setting in the background where you can set the time limit for refresh. So till that time, we'll probably go to the next feature, which is our subcatalog. Okay. So in this case, I have, as you can see, I have IT facilities. I created these two subcatalogs. So you would start by creating a new subcatalog. So I created like a human resource subcatalog. What I did, I basically added services and bundles from HRSM pack that I have into this service, right? So they are now part of this subcatalog. I can also do to-do tasks and service actions that I have related to this and add it here, and can define who are going to be the administrators and internal suppliers for this. Okay. So this is step number one. You don't need your services now anymore to be in the business workflow subcatalog. Each lines of business can have their own subcatalog. The next step after that, as a case agent or administrator, you need to go into business workflows. You need to do mapping with LOB, because DWP catalog doesn't know until now what's the LOB this service subcatalog is really going to. So you have something called as lines of business and manage lines of business. There is a new entry called subcatalog. So what you got to do, you got to really select the lines of business from here. So in this case, I have human resource lines of business, and then I can tie this human resource subcatalog from DWP to that. Okay. So what I'm really doing is I'm creating artifacts behind the scene, which is linking that subcatalog. So next, when this anybody who comes here and then tries to either log into DWP catalog, or this person who's basically a case agent or administrator tries to go to the catalog, will only see the subcatalog that's actually mapped here. Okay, so let's see that example. Yeah. So as you can see, the subcatalog ID is passed on the top, and then I'm only seeing those particular services, and then the service request report also will only show me those services. Okay. So then I have basically enabled the segregation in terms of data visibility, plus who can actually administer this. The other important thing is, now once you this may not be a good example, but once you give them the control, the biggest problem that all of you had really before was all the templates were available to everybody, right? Who were part of the business workflow. So now, as you can see here, if I can just select a ticket template, as you can see, only human resource templates will now be available to me for association. Okay, so that also provides you data segregation in terms of management of your subcatalog. At the same time, associating them to the lines of business, so you have much more control over the visibility of subcatalog, and then people can belonging to the multiple different um, uh, different lines of business can also still have access to multiple subcatalog. That's not a problem at all. But remember, you have one LOB and one subcatalog. So this is a one-to-one relation. A person, case analyst or case agent or administrator can have multiple lines of business association. That's not a problem at all. He or she can basically still access all those services, but you have to define that mapping, that this person can access what lines of businesses on business workflow side. So that's how you create a clear segregation. Okay. While the sync is happening there for cache, we'll probably go to the next feature. Now let me move out of this guy and then go to my normal administrator who's the DWP catalog administrator, not business workflows administrator. So I want to show you the confidential questions. So you have the questionnaire. In previous releases, you never had option to really make attachment type as confidential. In this release, what you can do, you can just go and edit your existing questions, or when you're creating the new questionnaire, you can just define this as confidential, okay, attachment type, and save it. So now it's going to follow all your rules and principles of not making it visible to anybody who's not part of the confidential group on business workflow side. At the same time, that entire question will also be hidden from the service request reports. So it's no other than what you already have for the existing questionnaire, but it's a new question that's made confidential and nobody will be able to access. At times, you really need somebody to upload a proof like a birth certificate or like a copy of your passport in the questionnaire. You want to make those confidential. So now starting 25 2, you will have that capability. Okay. I'm not going into the details. I want to keep some time for your questions.
Yeah.
Um,
We have 4 minutes left, I think so.
yeah. Okay. So maybe we just take a look at Victor right now for auto promotion. If it doesn't work, but you at least get the idea that what you can do really. Let's take a look at Smart IT again. Simultaneously, let's also keep the DWP catalog open. Yeah. All right. See, now you were there was a cache interval time. Now you can see the DWP requests are available to this user. Okay. Earlier they were not. So this is auto promotion use case. And as you can see now, the same person Victor is now able to get it into a digital workplace catalog also to the limit to the service request. And let's quickly take a look at the CTM people profile of this person. Okay. Um, Okay, MyITSP catalog agent, and under the bundle access, you automatically have the MyITSP, our application bundle access provided to the user. If you just remove this, as I said, from DWP catalog under the roles, next time it's going to take few minutes. There is a cache interval, but I don't think you guys will be flipping and flopping it entire day really, right? So you will do it one configuration and probably wait for like 5 minutes, and then your user login next time, automatically promotion and demotion will happen. Okay. If you do any settings, if you remove anything from CTM people from, next time they log in, this setting is going to supersede, so that will be automatically added. So you got to make sure that you remove, promote and demote them from here. Okay, that is very important to remember. And if person belongs to one of these, both of these rules will be evaluated. So it's either or. If the person exists here, they will be given permission. If the person exists here in the attribute, they will be given the permission. So I'll stop here now. I tried to cover everything. Maybe we can just quickly go to the Q&A and I can stop sharing my screen.
I had a feeling we could probably have done with 90 minutes, if I'm honest with you, but hopefully we'll have more sessions, as Deepak's mentioned, and Kaf. We've got all of these ongoing sessions we're regularly doing, and part of the thank you email, I will send out the previous recordings. If you don't know where those are, they're also on YouTube. We've also got our webinar page that has a list of all of the upcoming webinars, so I will do my best to collate as much information for you in one place. So I'm now going to start unmuting everyone. If you've got any questions or you want to ask, please raise your hand. All of the questions that were in the Q&A have gone, so we've got those. So we've got literally a couple of minutes. So if anyone wants to speak to either Kaf or Deepak live, feel free to raise your hand or put it in the Q&A.
I saw a hand coming up, but it
Disappeared.
it disappeared, yeah.
Actually, while we're waiting to see if anyone's got any questions, I wonder if you could do me a favor, Kaf, can you just pull up the Gartner Insights slide for me, just so I can talk through that very quickly before we lose everyone?
Yeah, 2 seconds.
Thank you.
Bring it up. Where are you now? The screen sharing thing.
Too many screens.
So this one it is. So the first one is the one with all the links. Somebody asked what webinar is Deepak talking about, and
Yeah.
it
Let
was
me
the
let me also
catalog
paste
one.
it so people don't really wait for Sam to upload all of this. I'll just quickly, before you all leave, I'll put it in the chat. Okay. Okay, links.
Thank you for that, Deepak. So yeah, all of the webinars that we've done, and I will double check we haven't got any missing, but I did spend a bit of time doing that. So hopefully you can all get that access. And then the other piece that we have an ask actually is we would love to hear your feedback. There is a QR code in the corner of here. You can either scan that now or these slides will be shared. But we do have a link at the bottom as well, which is to get your feedback from Gartner. If you just read the steps, the reason there's so much in here is because there are steps that you have to send the screenshot, and I will go and liaise back with marketing for you. But we would love for you to feedback for us on behalf and to Gartner. So that's the other ask that we have. Okay, and then one question we have got coming in, just so I don't ignore everyone if they've got questions. Thomas has put in a question. It says, is there a known target date for 25.2 will be available for on-prem customers?
Uh, 25.2 is not on-prem release itself. Do you remember, Deepak, if 25.2.1, 25.2.01 will be on-prem, or if it is 25.3.01 that is on-prem? I don't really remember from my head right now, but let us find out.
Yeah, we can find out and we can add it as part of the Q&A response. We have to work with another PM for availability of the on-prem details. We don't manage that release schedule, but yeah, we'll get you. So look out for the Q&A. We can answer that question after we confirm internally.
If it is 25.3.01, that will likely be in the September timeframe.
Thanks,
We
Kaf
can
and Deepak.
get the details, yeah, in the
Yeah,
Q&A. Please
the
confirm.
way release we have now is 25.101 that we released a couple of months back. That one is on-prem. I have worked with a few customers, so it's there. It has not all of these features, but quite many. You can look at the 25.1 webinar if you want to know what's in there, and also on the docs, of course.
Great, thank you.
Is there
Okay.
something in the chat as well?
No, that
I
was
put
just
it.
Deepak.
Yeah, I put the
Ah,
links in the chat for anybody
okay.
wanting those access to those two webinar on guest portal and service catalog curator. They're pretty comprehensive. So, and then look out for the links that Sam, the slides that Sam will share. There will be Q&A and the slides link there, but this video recording will contain everything.